Happy Friday afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar, How to Outmarket the Other Lawyers. It's brought to you by the American Bar Association, Young Lawyers Division, and by Case Manager, the Easy Practice Management System. I'm John Upton, the president of the company that makes Case Manager, and I'm happy to be sponsoring this webinar and to be serving as your moderator today. Joining me on the program is Richard Jacobs of SPEAKEASY Marketing, author of Secrets of Attorney Marketing, Law School Dares Not Teach. Richard's worked with over 600 lawyers to help them maximize their client pipelines, so he's truly an expert in this field. I can't wait to hear what he's going to say because it's going to be very useful to a lot of lawyers. Before we start, just a couple of things. First, the program is being recorded. After the webinar, next week, the ABA will email you a link to the recording and the PowerPoint slides, which will be posted online. Second, audience members are in a listen-only mode, but you can submit any questions you have by typing them into the questions box of your control panel. At about 1:50 or 50 minutes from now, there will be a question and answer session, and Richard will address the questions. And if any are unanswered, we'll answer them after the event. So let's get right to it. I give you Richard Jacobs.
Okay, thanks, John. Can you hear me okay?
I certainly can.
Sure. Great. All right. We're all good. You never know. Okay, so I'm going to be talking about how to outmarket the other lawyers. And forgive me, I changed the name of the presentation slightly to how to outmarket competing attorneys, regardless of your practice areas and your metro. What we're going to cover is the top 7 ways to get a steady stream of paying clients from online marketing. And just before we start, I want to say thank you to the American Bar Association Young Lawyers Division for making this possible. And also to you, John. I appreciate it. And just to let everyone know, in case it's not clear, John, he's the president of the company that makes Case Manager, which is a practice management solution available on all devices. CaseManager.mobi. You can get it on iTunes and Google Play. So, all right, so again, we're going to cover the top 7 ways to get more clients. What we're going to cover is how do you increase traffic from Google local search by ranking for hundreds of keywords there, not just a few. We're going to then talk about how to use YouTube to get more potential clients to call you. We'll then talk about how to add substantial amounts of fresh, unique content, meaning articles or blogs, to your website each month, so Google will see that and give you more traffic. And then I'm going to show you how to become the perceived expert in the mind of potential clients by authoring an ebook. Then we'll talk about how to rank higher in AVVO, Google Local Maps, Yelp, and Google Search by getting positive client reviews. And then we'll go into how to get Google to rank your website higher for hundreds of keywords, again, not just a few, by getting links or backlinks to your website. Then finally, we'll go into how to get more referrals from past clients, which everyone believes are the best clients, I agree, on a more regular basis. All right, so who am I? I'll give you some background. My name is Richard Jacobs with SPEAKEASY Marketing. I've worked for the past 6 years with many, many hundreds of law firms, I would say over 600. The way I started out is I built a site called myduiattorney.org, and we were a lead provider. So over the course of that, we provided about 35,000 leads to people nationwide for DUI. Since then, I've expanded practice areas, so now we work with criminal defense, estate planning, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, DUI, immigration. So there's about 15 different practice areas, and I can tell you that marketing is very similar for all these areas. So if you're on this webinar today and you have an unusual practice area, or you're in civil litigation, those kinds of things, yes, this will apply to you. So don't think it won't. Doesn't matter your practice area. They're all pretty similar. Just want to make that clear. I've spoken at PILMA, which is a personal injury and disability conference. I've also spoken for NACDL during their conference, the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. And I put out a book on Amazon and Kindle called Secrets of Attorney Marketing, Law School Dares Not Teach. And this has been instrumental in building my business and getting in touch with many lawyers around the country. So I'm going to let you know about this because we're going to be talking about creating books. And I'm going to show you the power of this, but I have to practice what I preach. So this book, just letting you know, has been instrumental in getting me a lot of business. I've also done one with some DUI lawyers on, a DUI defense called "But I Only Had 2 Beers," but that's an aside. So currently with Speakeasy Marketing, we work with about 125 firms. I have a big team of support staff. We do web design, SEO, customer service research, those kinds of things. And lastly, we've designed and redesigned hundreds of attorney websites. And I'm not saying this to brag, but I'm saying this to show you what is possible. So some of our best clients, they've gotten to the point where they're getting about 120 visits a day from Google search. So that's about 4,000 visitors a month. And that brings them 2 to 5 calls a day from potential clients that they can potentially retain. Just to let you know that, again, not to brag, but to show you what is possible. So beyond SEO, there's a lot of other tactics we're going to go into. I'll go into that shortly. And that's it for now. So, all right, let's get into it. So I've heard from countless attorneys that marketing their practice has become very, very difficult. And it's kind of ironic because there are so many marketing channels nowadays and so many ways to reach people. And it's so easy to reach people, seemingly, on smartphones and computers that how could it become so hard? But here's the background. So as you know, the economy is okay. It's not great. And the middle class is getting squeezed. And the middle class tends to be the very people you serve as an attorney. They're making less money. They have to concentrate their spending in fewer and fewer areas. And things still don't look like they're going to improve anytime soon. And again, as I said, there's a big proliferation of available marketing channels, Facebook, Twitter, website, etc. This becomes a paradox of too much choice. There's also a lack of time to be a lawyer and to market your practice well. Both take time. It's difficult. There's definitely a lack of knowledge out there about what truly works. All kinds of vendors tell you all kinds of different things. And all these factors contribute to make growing your practice and marketing it well pretty difficult, like they're pushing a rock up a hill. I'm sure you've seen this. There's now split-second ease in which I can Google someone, practice area, and look at a half dozen attorneys. That doesn't help because now you're in a crowded field of competition. And there's a lot of desperate attorneys who will charge bare-bone retainers and depress the market and hurt other people's ability to charge proper retainers that allow you to do your work and still make money and represent. And I'm sure you've seen headlines like these, fight your DUI, only $1,000, uncontested divorce, $799, bankruptcy, only $997. People doing this will eventually blow up, but in the meantime, they cause a lot of damage by doing it. You don't want that. How do you fight it? We'll go into that. The old ways of getting clients, which were great, are now on death's door. Yellow Pages moved to the internet, but they don't use them. They just go to Google. So Yellow Pages is pretty much desperate and dying. Newspaper industry was fantastic, but very few people read newspapers. Older people do, 50 and up, but still not in the numbers they used to. And younger people, millennials, are not reading much newspapers. Well, as you know, internet now dominates advertising, but here's the problem. It's very crowded. A lot of banner ads, a lot of stuff going on. It's noisy, it's hyper-competitive, and it's horrifically distracting. I've literally thought that I had Alzheimer's many times on the web because I'll go to a website, then I'll go to another site, and I say, why was I on this site? What am I doing? And I'm sure you've had the same experience. With so much competing for your attention, it's very easy to lose where you are and just, not sit on the website, not look at an article, not call somebody. It's very easy. So the web is difficult. It's not so simple. So now we're going to go into the specifics of how to outmarket competing attorneys, again, regardless of your practice area. So the first way, how do you get 3,000 plus monthly Google visitors from Google Local? And how do you rank for hundreds of keywords? Not just a few. And when I say a few, I mean Los Angeles DUI lawyer, New York family lawyer, Houston injury attorney. These are the keywords that everyone thinks, well, if I could just get to the top of Google for these keywords, I'd be home free. Unfortunately, through personal experience, that won't make you home free. It's far better, in my direct experience, to rank for hundreds of different keywords in Google, not just a select few. I get calls from people that say, we're #1 for blah, 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 Houston, but we're still not getting calls. What's wrong? I get calls like that all the time. So there's a different way to go about it. It's kind of maybe a backdoor way, but it's a more robust way, and I'm going to show it to you. So first, we'll look at a Google Maps listing. This is typically what you see. I put in San Francisco divorce lawyer, okay? What you'll notice is that there's only 3 listings here now. There used to be 7, and it says more places at the bottom. See that? So if you're not in the top 3, and someone has to click more places to find you, they're mostly not going to do it. Right? So you got to get into this top 3. How do you do it? Well, one main driver is to get positive reviews. And as you can see, the first 2 people have 10 and 11 views. Third one has none. The more reviews you get, the more positive ones, the more stronger your listing will be. There are other factors. You need to do SEO on your website and strengthen it to get in here. But again, reviews are very important. And a big metric here is once you get 5 reviews, you'll get these gold stars next to your listing. And that'll make it stand out to the eye. It's a big help. So that's your first goal, is to get to at least 5 reviews in Google Maps. Now we'll talk about reviews. So I want you to take out your smartphone now, if you can, if you're not using it for the webinar, and Google Mexican restaurants. That's it. Doesn't matter if you're in San Francisco or Minnesota, just Google Mexican restaurants. What do you see? You're going to see local restaurants, not ones from 30 miles away or 50 miles away. You're going to see local ones. Guess what? Same thing happens when people use their smartphones to Google attorneys, okay? Google knows where you're searching from, and it knows whether you're using a tablet or an iPhone or an Android or a laptop. So Google knows this. It localizes and personalizes search. So here's something to look at. So let's say you're in Santa Monica, in California, and you want to get clients in Pasadena. And let's say that's 13 miles away for the sake of argument. I'm not looking at a map right now. If you're in Santa Monica and you want to get clients from Santa Monica, fine. You have a chance of doing it because you're there. If you want to get clients from Pasadena, just 13 miles away, it's going to be a major uphill battle. And the reason is you're not truly local to Pasadena. You don't have an office there in this example. So the easiest way is to have a local presence. Then you're going with Google instead of fighting it. So I just want you to keep this concept in mind. Everything is local in Google. You need to understand that when you're trying to get clients. Are you in a city where you want to get clients from, or is that city 5, 10, 15 miles away? Very important. All right, so back to the reviews, back to this restaurant example. So when it comes to reviews, more is better, and better is better. If you look at these 2, Lupita's has 70 reviews, 4 stars. Alberto's has 400 reviews, 4.5 stars. Tell me, which one would you rather go to if you saw these 2 in your listing? You'd probably go to Alberto's. More reviews, looks better. There's more what's called social proof. Same thing happens with attorneys. You need more reviews, you need better reviews. Yes, it's hard, and we'll get into that, but this is what you need to do. And thankfully for attorneys, they're not like restaurants, they're not like hotels. You rarely need more than 10, maybe 20 reviews. In certain cases, you may need more, but usually the bar is set pretty low. And again, like I said, I understand getting reviews is difficult. You got to overcome people's laziness and your own laziness in trying to get reviews. I'll go over a few top places to get them. There's only a few, thankfully. This makes the job easier. One is Google Maps, like you just saw. So if you want these reviews, your client needs to have a Gmail account. But if they have one, they can post it really quickly, really simply from their smartphone. It takes 2 minutes. So if you ask your client, and they have a Gmail account, they have a smartphone, ask them right then and there, can you do a review? Don't let them leave, because they can do it quick. Yelp. Yelp's also become a very important place to get reviews, but your client has to have a Yelp account. And they can't just have an account that has just you in it. They have to have reviewed 2 other businesses. So a dry cleaners, a restaurant, a movie theater, whatever it is. They have to use their Yelp account at least somewhat. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. And Yelp will filter those reviews out and they won't appear, and that'll really frustrate you. So how do you get quote-unquote enough reviews? Well, you have to consistently ask your current and past satisfied clients for reviews. And you'd be surprised, yes, you can ask current clients. You ask them at watershed moments in their case. So let's say it's a DUI case, and you just won the driver's license hearing, and they get to keep their license. They still have to go to criminal court, but they get to keep their license. Person should be very happy at that point. Ask them for a review right then. Let's say you're an injury attorney and you haven't yet gone to litigation, and initially it looks like the insurance company is starting to make actual settlement offers. They may not be enough, but they're starting to do it. That's a good sign. Ask your client for a review at that point. Don't wait till the end. You don't have to. And people will often be willing to review you early on. When you do ask them to review you, you got to make it as easy as possible, because some people use Yelp, some people never use it. Some people have Gmail, some people don't. Some people aren't good on the computer and they could just write you an email, or they could just handwrite a review. Doesn't matter. Even if they handwrite one and you take a picture of it and post it on your website, it'll help you. Get the review the easiest way you can. That's the way you're most likely to get it. If you try to force people and say, we only want them on Gmail, well, it may not work and you may not get them. And remember, your first goal, your first metric is to get at least 5 reviews, and then you get the gold stars in your listing. It's a very good starting point. From there, you can go from there. But once you have this, you'll start getting more traffic and calls because of the attention. The holy grail is once you rank in the 3-pack of Google Maps results and you're pretty high up in Yelp, you will start to get the lion's share of clients. Clients tend to go from site to site. They may go to Yelp and look at you. They may go to AVVO. They may go to your website and bounce back and forth a few places. And if you show up in all those places and show up well, you'll start to get far more calls because of it. And that's the whole goal of this. All right, so beyond getting reviews, which is very important for maps, as we said, you also have to do what's called SEO, search engine optimization. The reason why is, again, you want to appear for hundreds of keywords. Maps don't just appear for a couple of keywords. Google search results appear for any keyword you could possibly think of. They're there. Are you showing up or not? You want to get attracting exposure, like I said, with at least 5 reviews. The whole goal, again, is more visits to your website, more potential clients calling. We're going to go into what constitutes good and effective SEO shortly. All right, so let's go on to way number 2 to get more clients, and that's to use YouTube. Google owns YouTube. I'm not sure if you knew this, and YouTube itself is now searched billions of times a month. And young people, especially kids, are learning a lot from watching YouTube videos. I'm sure if any of you have kids, they're watching all kinds of stuff on YouTube, Minecraft, everything you can think of. My kids do. It's a major way they learn. And people like video. They always have. Video now sometimes shows up in search results, as in this example here. So imagine there's these boring text search results and a video appears. Well, you'll really stand out. So it's a great idea to do videos and put them on YouTube. Why put them on YouTube? Well, first of all, it's its own search engine. People search it and you have a chance of getting calls from YouTube. Second of all, YouTube will serve your videos so they don't take up bandwidth on your site or anywhere else they appear. How do we get into YouTube? How do we get ranked in YouTube? Well, YouTube kind of has its own SEO and its own rules. They're not that complicated. They're simple to regular SEO. But more the point is, you don't want to have just one video or 2 videos. You don't want them to be commercials. You want them to be in a 1-question, 1-answer format, 1 or 2 minutes. That's it. The reason why you want to do this is because then you can make hundreds of videos over time. And that may be very daunting. I'll give you a quick example. The king of videos for attorneys, a guy named Jerry Oginski in New York. And last time I talked to him about 6 months ago, he had reached the 2,000 video mark. And he tells me he gets all his business from the web. He does no other marketing. He's really going crazy with it, and I don't expect you to do that, but you definitely, with some time and attention, can get to well over 100 videos in a year's time, and they'll serve you very well, and you can cover a lot of areas by doing that. So it's very, very possible. Why do videos work? Because they really drive calls from the web and from YouTube. Clients can hear you, they can see you, They can get a feel for how you are before they ever decide to call you. And you want to embed videos on your website, not just leave them on YouTube. So if you have a video about a certain practice area, let's say it's about child custody rules, you put it on your child custody page, and it'll look kind of like this. This way people can read the article if they want. If they rather watch, they can watch. If they rather just listen, they can listen. But they can experience your content the way they want to and get a much more rounded out feel of who you are as an attorney. And if they like you, they'll call you. If they don't have this chance to experience you, and you just have a corporate type website with legal gobbledygook and no interesting info and no pictures, no nothing, they're much less likely to call you because you're just a wall. You're not a face, you're just a law firm. People hire people, people buy people, they buy confidence, they buy the individual, their personality. You want to showcase your personality and who you are through videos. Very, very, very important. Okay. Third thing we'll talk about, how do you grow your website's content? How do you get hundreds of articles on your website? And why is this important? All right, so Google sees every page of your website, just like the surrounding soil in this picture sees every root. So your website is not just a home page. It's not just one door that people walk through. They can walk in through any door, any page on your site. You know, this is a website, and the trunk is the home page. This could be an area on, annulments, if you're family law. This could be child custody over here. This could be uncontested divorce. This could be alimony or spousal maintenance. These are all different pages of your site, and Google literally will show these different pages to searchers depending on what they type in. So they'll enter through all these different doors. So it's important to know this because you got to have an actual perspective of what your website looks like. So the first analogy here is that the more expansive this root system, the more articles you have, the more legal questions you answer on your website, the more bites of the apple you have, the more opportunities there are for people searching Google to find you and to come to your website. If you only have a couple pages, if you only have a few articles that are generic, you're like a withered Charlie Brown Christmas tree. You know, there's not much to grab onto. You want a big, robust site, hundreds of pages, and you can get there. Again, it takes about a year. You can get there. Once you do it, now you have a great, solid base to stand on for a long time. Just like this tree. Unless it was in a 100-year storm, it's not going to fall over because of this root system. Give you a quick example. So let's say you do criminal defense. Do you want to have just an article on criminal defense? Or would you rather have that plus articles on domestic violence, on sex crimes, theft crimes, assaults, DUI, white-collar crime, federal crime? I'm not even done. There's still 10 more areas we can talk about. Which would you rather have? And what kind of clients do you expect to get from the web? Someone that just has generic content may not get much. They'll get maybe traffic tickets. Someone that has all this stuff, they'll get a nice mixture of all these kind of crimes. And if you're a criminal defense person, that's probably what you want. Keeps your job interesting, helps your income. Some are very expensive cases, sex crimes. Some may be cheaper one. Some are the bread and butter. But that's why you want all this content on your site. Very, very important. What do most people do? And this is a mistake. A lot of attorneys will look at news articles and they'll blog on them because they think that's what they've been told to do. But news articles and blog articles don't attract real clients. You know, if you're commenting on Paris Hilton's DUI or the Kardashians' divorce, fine. But if I'm looking at Google and I see an article like that and I come to your site, yes, you get the traffic, but I'm there to read the news and to laugh at these people, for instance, or to say, oh my God, I'm not there for legal help. Once these stories die down, so does your traffic. So you got to choose evergreen topics to write about. And here's what I mean. If you're in, let's say you're in bankruptcy, okay, and you have a house that's in foreclosure, you're going to Google terms about keeping your house in foreclosure and bankruptcy and what's involved, will your credit be ruined, etc. If you have questions and answers on that on your website, Chapter 13 verses 7, what if you're self-employed? What if you're getting divorced and you file bankruptcy? All that. People come to your site looking for those things. They're looking for legal help. They're not looking for news. They're not looking for salacious stuff. That's what you want. You want real traffic from real clients. So you have to have real articles, not news. So that's very, very important, that distinction. I talk to a lot of attorneys. Some of them get a lot of visits to their site, but they're all garbage. They still get no calls, and this is why, because they have tons of blogs, tons of news, but very little real type information. A lot of times, too, people will just throw stuff on their website in no particular order. So one way to help is if you have an article on X, you want to have 4 to 5 related articles next to it. I'll get into that shortly. I'm actually jumping ahead of myself. Let's go into that now. All right, so how do you create effective articles and not just junk that gets garbage traffic? So again, like I was saying, is for every article, you want to have 4 to 5 related articles right next to it so people can click and continue to read if they're interested in something. So let's say you're doing personal injury, auto accidents, okay? You might want to have an article on dealing with the other party's insurance company. What if you're uninsured? What if an uninsured driver hits you? What if a foreign driver hits you? What if there's bodily injury? What if there's none? What if you were cited at the scene? What if you were rear-ended? All these questions would go together. So if you have an article on any of them, you should have questions on the other things. So they're related. It drives people deeper into your site. They can engage more, and they're more likely to call you. So when you create this content, these articles, what do you write about? A lot of people get stumped. Start with the basics. Go into FAQs, the most common questions you get on the phone every day from potential clients. Why? Because if 5 people a week ask you about something, 100 people a week are searching Google at least for that same something, but they just never get to your website. So you want to cover that stuff first. Then misconceptions. What do people assume? Let's say divorce. Oh, the wife automatically gets custody. They don't know about the tender years doctrine. That's a misconception in today's world. You want to write about that kind of stuff. What mistakes do people make while their case is ongoing? How do they ruin their case inadvertently? You want to cover that. What are some step-by-step guides? What can they expect if they're going to file bankruptcy or if they're going to go through a provisional waiver for immigration? What can they expect to go through? What are the expectations in terms of the penalties they could face on criminal cases, the outcomes they might get on family law or injury? Will they get a settlement? How much? These are all great fodder to go over all your practice areas and create a lot of content. So you'll never run out of ideas. Okay, we talked about related articles, so we've got that covered. All right. Okay. The take-home story for this is having dozens and then hundreds of informative articles on your website. That's going to make you rank higher in Google search and rank high for hundreds of keywords. That's how you do it. Okay. There's no mystery here. Do you have to go bananas and add hundreds of articles? No. Just do 5 to 10 a month. That's a great pace. It's plenty, and it will get you there over time. 10 times 12 is 120. 5 times 12 is 60. So you see how it can add up and really grow your site over a year's time, which is the length of time you should at least be looking at to get yourself in a good place. Okay, let's go into way number 4. So how do you become the obvious and the implied expert in your practice areas, in the minds of potential clients? The best way I've found by far is to write a book or an ebook. So this is an example. One of my clients, Michael Kramer in New York, a very nice guy. We did a book on fighting DWI charges in New York. You can do one, doesn't matter your practice area. You can do arrested for DWI in New York, useful information that may help you win your case. Facing divorce in Minnesota, how to get through the experience with your sanity and your family intact. Thinking of bankruptcy in Houston, Chapter 7, Chapter 13, how do I keep my house, those kinds of things. These are the kind of books that you can create. The great thing, first of all, is if you're creating content, you can repurpose it. You don't have to go and make all new stuff. What we've done is we've taken the top 20 articles worth of content on a website that's already been done, and we repackage that into an ebook. You can do the same. So most of the work will be done for you. And then you can offer that ebook as a free download on your website like he has. You can email that PDF of the book to potential clients. You can mail out printed copies. You can hand out printed copies. There's a lot you can do with it. I'm going to recap a lot of different things you can do with your book shortly. But I just want to give you an initial overview of what's possible. Okay. Why do books work? Why are they so powerful? When potential clients compare you against your competitors, and they're going to do it, okay? Are you the one that's authored a book and they haven't? Are you the implied expert because Only experts write books in the minds of people, normal people. Your other competitors haven't. Have you provided them knowledge and comfort, answered their questions, especially with the book? Or are you saying, oh, well, every case is different. You just got to come into the office and we'll talk about it. Which one are you doing? And you can guess which one gets more clients. What's going to happen is if you use a book and you increase your prestige and your image in the eyes of potential clients, you will retain the clients. The other guys will lose them. You'll command higher fees, and I've seen this. You'll charge double what someone else charges, but still get the case. And the other guys who have terrible positioning, who charge nothing on a case, they'll fight for the scraps if they even get them. That's what will happen if you position yourself properly. And I live this because the book I wrote, Secrets of Attorney Marketing, it's done that exact same thing for me. I wouldn't be on this webinar if not for that book. Why would they pick me to speak to you? How do I know anything? Well, it's been a great tool in helping me do things like this and other things. So back to you, it's going to be a great tool for you. It's a must-do. Okay, so now let's go into the ways you can utilize it once you get it done. Have it as a free download on your site. So in this one website, they did a DWI one and they did a divorce one. The husband does DUI and criminal, the wife does family law. So that's what we did on this site. When you have it as a download, here's what will happen if you click the button. So on this site, we asked the potential client for their name, phone number, and email. And then they can download the guide for free. So the person gets the information right then and there for free. And the attorney gets this information from the person. They become a lead. They can call them, they can email them, and try to convert them into a lead. So very, very important. This is a lead capture system. And again, it's a way for people to get information and just look at it and read it and maybe not have to call you just yet, but to learn more about it and to be, to attribute this knowledge to you and the prestige to you. Before I move on, I'm going to again go through the ways you can use your book. So again, we talked about having it as a free download on the site. You can also put it on Amazon and Kindle. Those are very powerful platforms. Everyone knows them, and it's a great way to say, hey, I'm a published author on Amazon. It's actually not that hard to do, but if you're on Amazon and Kindle, it's a great publicity thing for you. You can mail out your book if you get it printed to potential clients. You can hand them a copy of the book if they come in for a consult. Again, you can email the PDF of the book to potential clients even when they call you on the phone. And you can give the books to referral partners, bail bondsmen, chiropractors, funeral homes, etc. If you're a DUI criminal, you can give it to bail bondsmen. They can hand it out. If you're an injury attorney, you can give it to chiropractors or doctors. If you're in estate planning, you can give it to funeral homes or hospice. Okay, so you can get referral partners to have these books in their offices and their waiting rooms. It'll also get you more clients. All right, we're getting into the home stretch. So wave 5 out of 7. We're going to go back to reviews because we got to talk more about them. So the fifth big technique, besides good SEO, is getting more reviews. So we looked at Google Maps. Here we are again. Google Maps, Yelp, and AVVO, the 3 top places besides your website, or in addition, where you want to get reviews. There are many other sites out there, but don't worry about them. They're pretty much a waste. These are the top few. If you can get in these spots, in all these places, this is really what's going to get you tremendous business. So that's great. You can relax and know there's only a few places you need to worry about. 4 places: Google Maps, Yelp, AVVO, and your website. Okay. Here's a unique way to do it. What we've done is we've broken this into a 2-part process for our clients. We first take people to a survey, and we incentivize that survey. And we've talked to several state bar organizations, and we've said, is this okay? Is it okay to incentivize a survey but not incentivize the actual reviews? And they said yes. So that's great. So what we did is we'll take people to a survey and we'll offer a $10 Amazon gift card for people completing the survey. One of the questions in the survey will ask, how would you describe your experience when this attorney represented you? And would you refer if given the chance? Once the people are done with the survey, we take them to we have a special software, and you can have this done manually or with software. We take them to a page that says, if the review is positive, thanks, your card is on the way, okay? Would you mind doing me a favor? If you believe that we did a good job for you, here's a link to my Google Plus page. Here's a link to my Yahoo, this should be Yelp. Here's a link to AVVO. Here's a link to all the places I want reviews. Please go there and post one. And this has worked pretty well. When we've done this with attorneys, we emailed to an average of 150 of their past clients, and about a third responded at all. About 35 positive reviews were garnered. Most of them were for the website, yes, but 4 or 5 typically ended up on a combination of Google, Yelp, AVVO. So it's definitely worthwhile to do it. It's a great way to jumpstart your review process. And again, talking to State Bar, doing this 2-step process has found to be ethical, which is great. It may be different for your state. You got to check it out, but this is good. If you don't want to do this, if this makes you go, you can always just ask for reviews directly by sending out an email to past clients. Nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, now we're going to go into the 6th way. This is going to be a little heavy, a little technical, but it's important. Getting links or backlinks to your website. Very, very important for SEO. A link is a clickable piece of text that you've probably seen on a given website. You click on it, and it takes you to another website. That's what a link is, okay? Google's search engine algorithm, very, very important. It sees them as signals of trust. If I link to you, what's implied is that I'm telling the world that there's a resource on your website that people should go see. That's what I do when I link to you, okay? Again, Google sees you've got a lot of links from trusted sites that are linking to you. That means that other people have confidence in you. Google's algorithm will have confidence in you. It'll expose you to more searchers. It'll rank you higher for more keywords. This is one of the main drivers of how their search engine works, okay? Okay, so how is Google currently ranking your website? How do you want it to rank it? It's obvious, okay? Every time someone does a search, what Google does is it looks at all the relevant sites based on that keyword, and it ranks them in order of authority, usefulness, and relevance. And Google decides, are you going to show up number 1, 50, 500, 5 millionth, or not at all? So you want to be at the top of Google, but you want to be there, again, like I said, for hundreds of keywords, not just a few. This gets you the maximum exposure. But to do this, you have to have quality links and a lot of content on your site and all the other things I talked about. You can't do this without links. I'm sorry to tell you, but you just can't. We'll go into what makes links so difficult and so actually political and tough. So you may not be aware, but there's an arms race Google is running against spammers. For every industry you can think of, there's spammers all over the world that are trying to game Google's algorithm and get to the top because there's a lot of money at stake up there. For you as an attorney, if you're at the top of Google for hundreds of keywords, that can mean you have a 300K year versus a 70K year. Okay, so there's a big prize at the top of the mountain. That's why everyone wants to get there. All the money is up there, and I'm sure you know that. So let's go into some myths about links itself, what's good, what's bad. So in today's world, Google's put out a lot of Google updates, panda, penguin, all these different animals. They've changed their algorithm. They've destroyed many sites. A lot of people just live in fear of Google. What should we do? You know, does Google like this? Does Google want that? It's like living in fear of the volcano god, okay? So I'm going to tell you what the truth is about this. Yes, I've gotten calls from, I don't even know, hundreds of attorneys saying, we were doing good in Google up until a year or two ago. We got a new vendor. All of a sudden, we lost all our traffic. Or everything was going fine. And then the phone went dead. What happened? What do I do? Okay, so this is rampant in the legal world. It's a big problem. Okay, so one second. All right, I lost my place. Got it. All right, so a couple things we'll go into. What should you do? What shouldn't you do with links? So a couple things is, first, you got to get links. And we'll go into how to do it in an ethical way, in a sustainable way, where your site won't run into trouble. First of all, I'll tell you, you don't want to pay for links. Paid links aren't really a good idea. There may be a very few exceptions, but you don't want to pay for them. You want them to be earned virtuously. You don't want to ask for links from sites that aren't going to help you. Let me go into some of this more deeply. Even when you ask for links, even when you're bold enough to do it, most sites are afraid. They won't answer the phone or email. And then even if they say, all right, we'll post when they have second thoughts. So we see about 1 in 100 people are willing to do it. So there's a lot of work to be put in. There's a lot of people you got to speak to in order to get links. It's a time-consuming task. It's not easy, but unfortunately it has to be done. And then who do you ask? So here's what you'll run into, some of the stuff out there. There's link spammers. There's people on Fiverr and places like that that will say, I'll build you 500 links for 500 bucks. Very, very bad idea. One signal Google sees is if you suddenly get a ton of links, it doesn't make sense. Why would that happen unless you were in the news or something important happened with you? So that's a sign that will actually hurt your website, not help it. So you want to avoid these kind of things, 500 links for 500 bucks type thing. One of the perversely good things about it being so hard to get quality links is that your competitors, if they even do it, they'll grow desperate for links, and they'll pay companies like this to blast their site with links, and they'll end up hurting themselves. So a good pace to get them is 2 or 3 quality links a month. That's actually all you need to do, and that's plenty to grow your site without suffering any penalties. The clients I work with, we've never actually had a client that lost all his traffic to Google, which is great, because what I do is I follow what Google wants. Google wants relevant links, we get them. Google doesn't want tons of garbage links, we don't get them. If you just listen to what Google wants and follow what it's asking for and provide good content, you won't have trouble. And actually, staying in compliance with them is as simple as that. So that's very, very good news. You don't have to game their system. You don't want to do that. All right, continuing on, there's also things called link farms. Joe Schmo has 30 blog sites, and he'll link to you from all of them. Watch out, because that guy may be doing that with 30 other people. And Google can find these link farms, these websites set up just to provide links to people. Once they find a link farm, they shut the whole thing down, and the links that you get from that place count nothing towards your website. So it's a waste of your time. So don't go with them. Then you have to look at who in the past has linked to your site and what does your link profile look like. So just like if you eat donuts and ice cream all day, you're going to get diabetes. If you have low quality links and that's all that's in your profile, you're not going to have a good site. You're not going to get traffic. You're not going to get clients. So I would encourage you to review who's linked to you, your link profile. You can find it. It's public. It's out there. And you can do what's called disavowing bad links, saying to Google, there's a simple process. This is Google, I don't think this link is valid. I don't want you to count it. And they won't. So that'll help you. So let's go into what are bad links, what are worthless links, and what are good links. So bad links, I told you already, from farms, places like that, from spammers. Some people will go to Russia, China, India, and get these links from really powerful sites. It's not going to help you. Why would someone from Russia link to you? Why would someone from India link to you? It makes no sense, especially if the site's in another language. I've actually seen sites lose all their traffic because of this. So don't go after that kind of stuff. Don't go after them from spammers. Don't go after them from link farms, okay? Worthless links. It used to be where you link to me, I'll link to you. We both benefit. Now it just cancels out and does nothing. So don't go for those kind of links. They won't hurt you, but they won't help you. What are good links? Good links are links from authoritative sites, state bar publications. If they put out a magazine or something online, fantastic. Get it from there. If you're in the news, KPHO TV in Dallas, if they'll link to you and put a news story on you, awesome. Non-competing attorneys. If I do bankruptcy and you do family law, I can link to you. I'm not going to lose clients because of it. I'll actually maybe help them out and give them a referral, vice versa. So look for attorneys that don't compete with you, friends that are attorneys, etc. You can get links from them. Look at legal-related bloggers and legal-related sites. Also good places to get links. It makes sense that these places would link to you. And again, more links, more good ones, the better your Google rankings. And the whole thing will float all boats and help you. Why bother doing this? If it's so difficult, if it takes so long, and if it's fraught with peril, if you do it wrong, why do it? Because this is one of the #1 drivers of success, unfortunately. And if you want to rank #1 in Google for hundreds of keywords and rank #1 in maps and get maximum exposure, you've got to do it. Having content's not enough. Doing other stuff is not enough. Links, I think, are a must in my experience. But getting them properly is worth it. It'll really help your business. All right, we're on to the last way, newsletters. So a newsletter to past clients is a great way to get referrals. You want to keep top of mind. Let's go into this a little bit here. This is a sample newsletter we did that came out through email. The first thing I got to tell you is you don't want to do it once a year, just on Thanksgiving or just on Christmas. It's not enough. People are not going to remember if you do that. You got to do it monthly. Very, very important. Okay, that's an ideal frequency. You're not bugging people once a month. It's the rare person that will complain if you email them just once a month a newsletter. Should you do it physically or through email? Email is a lot cheaper, but far few people open it. Physical mail is more expensive, maybe $1.50 per person per month, but a lot more people open it. The physical mail works really well. Your choice, but at least do something. If you do both, that's by far the best, but it's rare that someone does that. Be consistent. Don't do it for a month and then skip 2 months and then do it again. And, it's Christmas time, we'll do it. It's not going to work for you, and you're going to think it doesn't work. It does, but you've got to be consistent. You're not going to get referrals the first time you do this. It takes 3 to 6 months consistently to start getting referrals to do it. And if you stick with it for a year, you'll really do a lot better. What it does is it keeps you top of mind with your past clients. It'll boost your referrals. Because if you're on their mind and they remember you, they're much more likely to refer you. The average person, in looking at data, knows 20 people well enough to refer them to an attorney. Not that they're best friends, but they know them well enough that they'll say, oh, I'm sorry you're going through a divorce. John Smith, he helped me out years ago. Call him up. All right? Here's what you got to realize. Your past clients are already having this unhelpful conversation. Help, I was arrested for DUI, or I'm divorcing, or I got into an accident, whatever happened to me. Do you know any good lawyers? I don't remember. I used this guy, but I don't remember his name. You better just go Google someone. That's not the conversation you want to have, and that's the conversation they are having right now, I guarantee you, unless you're reminding them of you. I don't care if you won them $1 million in a settlement, or you kept them from a 20-year prison sentence. They'll forget you, trust me. All right? Take a look at this slide. So you know what this is in 2 seconds. All right? It's the Geico Gecko. Why do you know it? And why, if I told you you could save 15% on your car insurance, why does this pop into your head? Well, Geico did this by branding and by pulverizing you with these ads for every day for years and years and years and years. Okay? You can't do this, but by sending a newsletter monthly to your past clients, you can get close to this, far closer than the other attorneys that never contact their clients and just think, all right, have a nice life, see you later. Okay? What do you want to put in your newsletter? So you'd be surprised. People, unfortunately, they hope, even if they love you, they hope they never hear from you again because you were there at a negative time in their life. So you don't want to talk about the law very much in your newsletter. What do you talk about? I would have one article about the law, a legal tip. Okay, have a recipe, for delicious spare ribs. Have an article about this date in history. Martin Luther King did this. Have an article about a celebrity. People love celebrities. Have a crossword puzzle. You want to have mostly engaging, fun, entertainment type articles that aren't threatening, that people will actually be entertained to read. Because if they start getting this from you instead of legal stuff that they hate and they don't want to hear about, they're more willing to open up the email or read the newsletter and be entertained by it. And your name is on there. So that's the sweet combination. That's what you want to do. A lot of this is great because this content is all over the place. You don't have to create it. So if you just have one little article a month and you have your header in the newsletter and the rest of this stuff, it can take just a few minutes to do the article, and to do your newsletter. You don't have to spend hours slaving over it. And that makes it much more likely you're going to get it out the door. Remember, no matter how good you are, no matter if you save this person's whole family from death, the client never hopes to hear from you again because you represent a negative event that happened in their life. A DUI arrest, a divorce, a bankruptcy. I'm sure some of the people listening have had bad things happen in their life. Do you want to remember them? No. The person that was around when this happened, do you want to remember them? No. So same thing with you, unfortunately. That's the cross you bear as attorneys. But there's ways to make it far better. Okay. The ideal newsletter. We'll get into this now. We're getting close to the end here, just so you know. So like I talked about, the ideal newsletter has a header, your contact info, what you do in case people forget, an article about the law, friendly type, entertainment type stuff, and a call to action at the bottom, your phone number and all that kind of stuff. It'll kind of look like the Reader's Digest. And you can also include special offers. Let's say you do estate planning, you can do a will tune-up. Let's say you're in criminal defense, you may be able to do expungements and offer that in your newsletter to your past clients. So there's a lot of things you can do with this, again, besides just remind people It's a very, very powerful vehicle, and I definitely encourage you to do it. Okay, and the main question here is, as legal situations arise in your past clients' lives, and they will they remember and refer you? And people that are referable is a friend of mine, a family member, a fellow churchgoer, a coworker, and an acquaintance. All these people I can refer to attorneys, and so can your past clients. So even if your past clients, let's say, are lower income, or you think they're not very tech savvy, they have friends and family members and all these people in their lives, and they can refer them to you. So don't think, oh, my clients are this or that, they're just not going to refer. They can. Doesn't matter who they are. Okay. All right, this is going to be the recap on the final part. I'm going to go through this quick. You need to know how much time, expertise, and cost this stuff takes, because if you want to do it yourself, it can be daunting. First technique, ranking for hundreds of keywords in Google Local. You got to get listings verified. You got to do SEO work and get reviews and get them into the 3-pack. You do this by adding 5 to 10 articles a month to your site, getting links, etc. It's going to take you about 8 hours a month to do this if you did it yourself. That's my estimate. Number 2, if you want to do YouTube videos, again, clients can hear and see and experience you. Very important. They show up in Google search if you put them on your website. An easy way to do this, to make it simple for you, is voice over existing articles you've written. Okay, here's an example. If I get divorced, does that mean my wife automatically gets custody of the kids? Attorney John Smith says, no, blah, 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 blah. You do like a 1 or 1.5 minute expose on that question. At the end, you say, for more information about family law, or if you're facing divorce, call 1-888, blah, 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 visit this website, or email me. That's a simple way to do an audio of an existing article. It requires no new thought. You can put a picture on top of that and make it a video. So that's a great way to make videos. The format you want is 1 question, 1 answer. And over a year's time, you want to get about 100 of these at least up on YouTube. And then you want to SEO them, cross-link the videos. There's some stuff involved in that. Time each month to do that is about 7 to 10 hours. Okay. Number 3, adding the content to your site, 5 to 10 fresh blog posts. Remember, your entire website is exposed to Google. It looks like a tree with roots, your website. Each article lives on its own unique page. The more pages you have, the more places Google can match you, the more business you'll get. Each page is a billboard pointing to your office, if you want to visualize it that way. So you got to add 5 to 10 articles a month. Here's what it takes to do that. You got to research topics, get questions, write the articles, proofread them, post them on the website. They should have calls to action on the articles. Probably 20-30 minutes to create each article and to edit them. So I found it takes about 13 hours a month to do this. Okay, and I'll get to the reason why I'm putting the times in on all this. Okay, just so you know. With articles, there's a faster way to do it. This is a quick cheat I'm going to give you. Write out 20 questions. Do a phone interview with someone in your office, or just dictate it. Okay. Get that interview transcribed, edited, and break it up into articles and post it. This will create, if you do an hour, it'll create about 10 to 12 articles you could put on your site. So that may be a whole month's worth in a 1-hour interview. This is what we do. A very, very effective way to get information out of you in a fast format instead of writing. Okay, number 4, we talked about ebooks. Being perceived as the expert in the mind of potential clients. Very important. Remember, the most wonderful thing is this content you've created, you could repurpose it into an ebook. And we've found there's a Goldilocks size. A 1-hour interview turns into about a 50-page book. It's the Goldilocks size. Not too thick, not too thin. It's not intimidating, it's not flimsy. It's the perfect size for a book. Once you get this content and you repurpose it, you want to format it so it has chapter format. You want to graphic design the front and back covers, add testimonials, table of contents, ISBN, and price it. Now the book's ready to go. Up on Amazon, mailed out, emailed out, etc., like we talked about. That's what's involved. And again, we talked about how to use it to get new business. I'm harping on this because a lot of people make books and then they go, what do I do now? Or they never use them. So don't go through all this trouble if you're not going to use it. And again, post it on your website for free download. People enter in their info, they get the book. Follow up if people do that on your website. I'm estimating that the cost to do a book is probably $2,000 to do it by yourself and 25 plus hours. This is a more major undertaking, but it can be done. And again, besides your website, you want physical copies. You want to, give them the referral partners, all the stuff we talked about. So this is the ways to use your book once it's created. All right, number 5, more reviews and testimonials. Again, vital to position yourself as an authority and a good attorney. The places to get them: Google Maps, Yelp, AVVO, and your website. Everywhere else, don't worry about it. Just these 4 places. Okay. How do you do it? Well, you got to gently remind your past clients consistently. Don't drive them nuts and bug them to death, but you have to keep on reminding them. Okay. Otherwise, they'll never do it. Time: 5 to 6 hours a month, maybe even less if you have a secretary do it. But this has got to be done ongoing. Very, very important. Number 6, getting higher in Google with quality links. Okay, I'll click on that. Links, very hard to get. 1 in 100 people will say yes. And are you able to offer anything in return if someone links to you? That'll make the whole process easier. This is hard work. It's grunt work. It's got to be done consistently. But again, the bar is not set very high. 2 to 4 links a month, perfect. It's plenty. It'll get you to a good place in a year. And remember, don't buy links. Don't get garbage links. Don't get non-relevant ones. Get ones that if a human looked at it, it would make sense that that person is linking to you. Then you have no trouble. This will get you ranked higher in Google and in Maps. All right, we're almost done. Oh, more on links. Forgot about this. All right. I won't get into this, but again, links, very difficult. 30 to 40 hours a month is what I'm estimating. It's hard to do. Okay, number 7, referrals through newsletters. We talked about this. You got to send a monthly newsletter, even if it's by email only. All right. How do you do it? Assemble the last 3 years of just the name and email of past clients. What? You're not asking for emails? Start asking for emails. What? You don't have emails for past clients? Call them up, have your secretary do it, and ask them if it's okay if you send them a newsletter once a month, just to remind them. A lot of people say, sure, fine. They don't have to read it. They can unsubscribe, but ask. Okay? You'll be surprised. You do need special email software, because if you're going to email more than 50 or 100 people, you don't want to use your account to do it. You want to get, there's AWeber, there's Infusionsoft, there's all these email companies, Constant Contact, that will do it. You put your list in there, and then they'll handle the emailing. E-newsletters are good. There's no linking or stamping. You just click and send. On average, we see about 20% of the people you send to will open it. So if you've got 200 people in your email list, about 40 each month will open it, which is fine. It'll still get you referrals. And your emails have to be spam compliant, so you have to let people opt out if they don't want them, but that's very easy to do. That's just standard boilerplate. The newsletter itself, you want to assemble and write the content, lay it out, make it a template so you don't have to change it each month, send it every month, and track who opens it, who reads it. That may be eye-opening for you on who to contact. If you see someone reads it every month, you may want to opportunistically contact them after 3 or 4 months, see how it's going, see if they need any more legal help. That's an idea. If someone says, don't contact me again, just take them out of the list. Fine. Time to do this, 15 to 20 hours a month. Actually, with a template, I can see this being 2 to 3 hours a month. It's pretty easy to do. So if you were to do all these 7 steps yourself, we estimate it'll take about 103 hours a month. It takes quite a bit of time to do marketing right. What's the ideal solution then? What do you do? Because you have to be an attorney. You have to go to court. You have to, write motions. You have to do all that stuff. So do you do it all yourself? Do you hire and have several in-house staff members doing this, each with different skills? They got to be managed and paid and all that. Or do you retain an outside company that does it all, that lets you be an attorney so you can focus on that? And here's why I say this, because here's my big pitch. So if you want to, if you found this info valuable, we're about to finish and go to Q&A, but if you want to schedule a complimentary strategy session that will professionally review your marketing, your current strategy, your presence, where you are, where you're not, the strengths, threats, and opportunities that you need to grow your practice, you can email me, rj@speakeasymarketinginc.com, call 888-225-8594, or visit the website, speakeasymarketinginc.com. So there's my call to action should you want it, and it looks like now we're going to go to Q&A.
Okay, Richard, we do have a number of good questions. I didn't want to interrupt you because you had too much good momentum going, and it was too much good stuff. So I think we can go over the original time by 5 or 10 minutes. There probably will be questions that you can't get to, and if it's okay with you, the answers to those questions can be included with the materials that are available from the ABA later. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Let's get into it. We'll see how many we can get.
Okay, so the first one, I'm taking these basically in the order received. The first one is referring back to the visual you had with the map of San Francisco and the three law firms with stars after them. And the question is, when you get reviews from clients, how do you upload them to get the stars?
That's a great question. You don't want to touch the reviews. The clients have to do them. Don't have them use the computer in your office because Google will see them coming from all the same place. Don't have them use your smartphone. They've got to do it from their own, unfortunately. They'll upload directly. So with my phone right now, I turn it on. My Gmail account is open because I have an Android phone. I can Google any attorney and just post a review right there from my phone. So you don't have to touch anything, but the client has to do it. But again, if they have Gmail, it's very easy for them to do it if they just Google. So the step is, tell the client, Google me. Here's how you do it. John Smith, Houston divorce lawyer. I'll come up, click on my listing, and then it'll prompt you to write a review. Same thing with Yelp, but they have to do it.
Okay, the next question is, with respect to content that you put in blogs, vlogs, and websites, et cetera, what do people need to be aware of in terms of what the rules of professional responsibility permit? Is there some kind of a presumption that they're giving legal advice and that they have to put disclaimers, or, what can you say about that?
Yeah, there could be, and you'll notice on a lot of attorney sites it'll say, by using this site or viewing the content, you are not creating an attorney-client relationship and, consult an attorney, that kind of stuff. It's safe to have it on all your articles, so do it. You have it in your emails. I've seen that many times. So do it on your articles, and then you have no problems.
All right. The next question is, what about strategies and trends related to things like Facebook Live, Periscope, Blab, Instagram, Snapchat, things like that? Do you recommend the use of those platforms?
Selectively, you may want to look at one of them and start testing it, but the stuff I talked about today is your core fundamentals you've got to focus on. If you run around and do Periscope and Snapchat and all this other stuff, unless you focus on one channel and it has momentum and you're getting leads from it, you're going to be ignoring this stuff, and this is the bread and butter you need to do. Otherwise, that other stuff's not going to help you very much. There's a lot of distraction, like I said, and in my business, we're trying to figure out, can we make Facebook work? Can we make social media work? In general, social media is very difficult for attorneys. It doesn't really work that well. It's my experience. So be very careful. If you're going to do something like that, focus on one channel, Periscope, and commit. Every week, do a live broadcast and see after 2 months, is it getting you any business or not? Because you could easily be wasting your time. So be careful with that stuff.
Okay. Next question is, do you have any plans to publish an updated version of your book?
Yeah, actually, I'm in the process on that now because it's been a couple of years. All the information still is 100% valid today, but now there's some new additions and some new chapters I'm working on. So probably the next 3 or 4 months, the new edition will be out. But yeah, good question.
All right, Richard. Next question is, would you use the survey with the $10 Amazon gift card as a review to put on the website, or was it just to lead the thank you page to get Google and Yelp reviews?
Yeah, it was primarily to, remember, there's a filter in there. So we incentivize the survey only, okay, because you don't want to run into ethics problems. Of the people that returned the survey, the ones that gave positive reviews, then you ask them, would you mind posting a review for me? Or positive survey results, I'm sorry. Of the ones that did negative survey results, obviously you don't want to ask them for a review, but you should call those people to see if there's a loose end hanging that you can fix, so they will be happy with you. And we've actually had clients where someone was mad at the attorney for some reason. They talked to them, they turned them around, and that person wrote a good review. So all that is useful, but you want to do it in 2 steps with that filter in there, so you don't end up getting a bad review and a good review when you're kind of at net zero or worse.
Thank you. The next question, maybe a quick response to this. Did you open your own law practice right out of law school? And I'm not sure you even are a lawyer, are you?
No, I'm not a lawyer. I started because I saw that about 6 years ago, the most expensive keywords in Google pay-per-click or AdWords were DUI lawyers and mesothelioma lawyers. So I thought there's a lot of money to be made in the market, and that's a market that I could see myself going into. So I'm not an attorney, but I worked with them for so long that some people say I'm starting to sound like one. So
okay, okay. Let's see if we can do a couple of more. Sure. This question is, I realize you've said this will work for any area of law, but if you have a small business, wedding cake baker, veterinary practice, masseuse, etc., are you going to Google an attorney, or are you going to talk to other business owners and find out who to call? And do Yelp reviews really help someone who's looking for expertise on breach of contract litigation or mortgage closing for a commercial real estate?
Yeah, I mean, you're dealing with people, okay? So let's go to the low end. Even if I'm a hairdresser, okay, and I get in trouble, I still have a smartphone in my pocket, so I'll look online. I may not read through tons of legal articles because maybe I just don't care, or I'm so frightened I just need help, but I'm going to look for, for help, and I'm going to look for signals that I should talk to you versus someone else. So if I Google a certain practice area, it doesn't matter what it is, and I need to find an attorney, I'm going to compare. I just got a traffic ticket, okay, a handicap parking space. I didn't mean to. I had to find an attorney for it. I went to Google and I looked at reviews and all that, and I chose one. People are people. And on the other end, let's say I'm a CEO of a bank, okay? Yeah, I might ask my contact list and all that, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure that the person I'm going to hire is either good or bad. So I'm going to do a reality check on Yelp, Google, different places, make sure they're on the up and up. Look on AVVO. These are all, it's called social proof. Very, very important to get these reviews because you need that social proof because people do look.
Thank you. Next question. Do you believe that all these approaches that you've covered can apply to a niche practice which targets exclusively corporate entities rather than individuals? Sort of the same question.
Yeah, that's fine. Most of the elements will be very important. Again, newsletter, you got to remind, let's say you're only dealing with heads of mid-sized companies. You're going to be, counsel for them. Again, they're people. They're the same species of person as the bum on the street, okay? So they'll respond to newsletters and being reminded. They're going to look online to vet you, same way as everyone else. They're going to search in Google for topics they need to research about. So all these techniques apply. They're not really that different. That's why I said it doesn't matter your practice area. When people are searching for information, their instinct now is go to the web, pull out the phone, and look. So if they find you in several spots as they're looking, they're going to call you. If they don't find you, how can they call you? You got to be there.
Another attorney is saying, would the same techniques work if you represent attorney clients? Would you have the same content of newsletters or blogs? In other words, would you still be keeping it entertaining?
If it's other attorneys, I would shift it more towards the law, but that's because that's their focus and they're not as scared by it. But let's say you get charged with ineffective counsel. All of a sudden, you're not an attorney anymore. You're a scared prospect, just like everyone else. Oh no, am I going to lose my license? I got to go to court now. Oh, I got a bar complaint. Shit, now what do I do? You turn into the exact same prospect that everyone else has. So even though you're an attorney yourself, you need help. Same techniques work, and that's why. They're humans too.
I think there's just one more questioner.
Sure.
And I think you've actually sort of answered this one. The question is, what do you do with the bad reviews? I'm not online, and I heard from another attorney and frustrated clients who write bad reviews that, I'm going to read this just the way it's written. I'm not online, and I heard from another attorney and frustrated clients who write bad reviews destroy their reputation.
Yeah, everyone, so this is a very important issue. Even I have people online that have said, the way I get links is no good and I'm a spammer, okay? Everyone's got stuff. You got to have good stuff to bury the bad stuff. Which would you rather have? One bad review on you online so you don't look good and you live in fear of it, or one bad review and 20 good reviews that put it in context to bury it? You've got to go for the good stuff and not be afraid, because then you get a more rounded picture. And if the only thing about you is bad, you're in trouble. So you got to have good stuff to balance it. That's what I would say. And everyone's got problems. Everybody. There's attorneys that have had sex scandals that's online that I know. There's ones that have shot people that are going to court themselves. I mean, everything. They're people, and stuff happens to everybody. So you have to counteract that with good reviews.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us, Richard. Very, very useful, very instructive. Everybody remember that the webinar has been recorded, that the PowerPoint is going to be available with the ABA. Thanks a lot for coming. Enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon. Get to work on your content. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.